I experienced just a lot of adverse childhood experiences, a lot of hardship, and I always felt like a sense of loneliness and brokenness, and I longed for community, honestly. Um, so when I was 16, to give you like a clear picture of kind of where I was, I thought high school was gonna be good. I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna change the stars. Like I'll make high school great. It'll be awesome. Well, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and that was hard. And then my stepdad had a heart attack and a quadruple bypass. So I was already spinning and reeling, and I was like, whoa, like I'm totally out of control. I have no idea what's happening in my life. And soon after, a friend actually passed away in a car accident. And at this point, I was like, man, I don't know how to be strong anymore. I don't know how to be strong anymore. And I worked at the rec center, actually with Gil's daughter, Aubrey. So that was a really good connection for me. We're just thick as thieves. We love each other so much. And Aubrey just suggested one day, hey, like, you want to go to church with me? I was like, are you going to be there? She's like, yeah. I was like, you want to give me a ride? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, I'm there. Yeah, let's go. So that actually started my journey here at Grace Crossing in 2011. So I came, and I just remember, I remember Pastor Gil preaching about the least of these, and I remember it was just so amazing to me that the ministry was focused on helping people. I remember the prison ministry that we helped with, and just so many different things, and it just took me off guard. I felt a sense of community in a different way that I had always longed for at that point. So through that, I mean, I even came to a lock-in when I was starting here at GCC, and I remember that night at the lock-in, Aubrey and I slept in an office that would one day become my office now in 2020. So very neat memories here, very intertwined with Grace Crossing. So through that, I actually was invited to Southburg Christian Church in Miamisburg. And it was a lot closer to my home, so I started going there more often, and I became intertwined with Ryan Massey. He was a high school pastor at that time, and I saw him living like Jesus, and I was like, man, I'm not living like Jesus, and I want that. Like, I don't know, he has this light, and I need it. And so I started serving. I started serving in their youth ministry, and I started going constantly. I've lived life with their family for, going on 10 years now. We've celebrated birthdays, mission trips, local missions, all the trials and tribulations that life has to offer. We've done them together. So it's offered me a different sense of discipleship. And he's a discipleship pastor now. So it's very near and dear to my heart to practice discipleship in a way that Jesus did, which is living life together and not pretending that everything's okay, but really embracing each other throughout every single turn and curveball that life gives you.
I hope that you all can kind of sense what God has done in this journey with Alicia. Our theme verse for Imagine is Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. To him who's able to do immeasurably more than we ask or imagine, according to the power that's at work within us. I mean, who would have ever imagined that a young girl would come to this church, find Christ along the way in her journey, be discipled, get involved in student ministry, and then some 9 years later would apply for and become the new youth ministry director at Grace Crossing Church. That is more than we could ever imagine, and we give thanks to God for that today. Tell us a little bit, Alicia. You talked about your involvement in student ministry. Talk about how your experience of involvement that you feel like has prepared you for this moment, for this season, for this position.
So I went on a trip at 17 years old. I had just been baptized in Mexico on a mission trip, and I was like, all right, God, what more do you have for me? And I heard him call me to ministry, and I was like, whoa. And I stood up in front of my peers, and I was like, yeah, like, I want to be a youth pastor. And I was like, oh gosh. And I just said that out loud. I was like, oh no. Maybe I should take that back. So I was definitely called at a young age, and then I just kind of put it on the shelf. I was like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. I was like, I'm good with where I am, which was at Southbrook volunteering in ministry. So, you know, in high school, I started working with middle schoolers, and I just loved it. I loved how much they wanted to learn. I loved how vibrant they were and enthusiastic about everything. Yeah, they're just amazing. So I started just leading there. I was there every Saturday night without miss. Like, I was always showing up. Even on my 21st birthday, I was with my students. Like, that's where I wanted to be. And as time went on, I moved up into the high school ministry. And, you know, I always thought, like, man, I can't possibly love high school students as much as I love middle school students. Well, I was wrong. I think it's kind of similar to how parents get one child and they go, man, I couldn't ever possibly love another child the way that I do my first. And then they get the second and they realize, man, there's just more room for love. And that's how I felt going into high school ministry. So I've been doing that, like I said, for 8-9 years. And it's a very large group at Southbrook, so a lot of diverse backgrounds, a lot of personalities. They've taught me grace, they've humbled me, they've taught me the true sense of joy that I never really experienced before. And man, like, they have just taught me way more than I could have ever taught them, hands down. So I think that experience has given me everything that I needed to be able to come and start my journey back here. So God knew what he was doing all along. I had no idea I would end up back here, but I thank those students so much for all that they gave to me, because it's the experience I needed for sure.
As you've gotten to know Grace Crossing Church, both in my experience in 2011, but as you've been in this journey of interviewing in this process, you got to know our vision at Grace Crossing Church. What is it about the vision that most inspires you, that most motivates you, that you are most excited about as you think about joining the staff?
I've sensed a lot of peace with the discipleship here. It's just my journey back at Grace Crossing happened when Ashley reached out to me in 2018, telling me about the youth pastor position. And when I spoke with Life, it was instantly pure discipleship and mentorship. And I was like, that's what I need. Like, I long for that. I love that mentorship. I think it's important, and I think that Christianity is so much about being in community. So I'm excited for the deeply rooted discipleship that Grace Crossing has to offer.
That's awesome. And you're prepared for this journey and for that role of discipling our students. We're really excited. So what can parents expect to hear from you? What can parents expect in the coming months? And then how do they best reach out to you, both parents and students? What would be the best way to contact you and connect with you?
So I will be sending out an email so that you can have all my contact information and get a hold of me whenever you need to. So that'll be coming to parents and students soon. As far as what to expect in the coming months, I think I'm most focused on relationship. I want to build and just really build a foundation. I don't want to get ahead of myself or the ministry. I think that relationship is important. So I want to know the students, and I want the students and families to know me as well, so that we can really have that community and then see where God takes us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, would you put your hands together again and say thank you?